In today's video, we're going to be going over all the settings that I have in my Tesla Model Y, which ones I prefer, which ones I don't prefer. So let's jump right in. Okay, so here we are at the main center console screen in my Tesla Model Y. First and foremost, especially if you're someone new to Tesla, the way to open up your settings, there's a car icon right down here. We're going to go ahead and click on that, and this will start to bring up all of our settings, and it's just really easy. You got controls, dynamics, charging. You can just go down the list. Let's start with the lights. Keep it on auto. The vehicle is very good about automatically putting on lights and turning them off if the sun is out and they are not needed. I highly recommend leaving them on auto. Now the next thing over here for dynamics, this is kind of a big one for a lot of people. Electric vehicles are very fast, so I have my acceleration in chill mode. If you're someone who likes to really kind of get up and go and really feel what the vehicle can do, you can go ahead and put it in standard. But again, because of what I do for a living, I keep it in chill. So that's totally up to you. If you happen to have a performance vehicle, like let's say you got Model 3 Performance, you should have a extra little box right here, and it'll have insane. In that vehicle you have the option for chill, standard, and there'll be another box here for insane. Mine is just a long range all-wheel drive. It is not a performance. I personally think for most people standard is fast enough. I'm going to repeat that. Standard for most people is fast enough when it comes to acceleration. The next thing, we have steering weight. I have mine on light. It doesn't take a lot of effort for me to turn the wheel. Obviously, having it on light is the easiest to turn the wheel. Standard is good too. I think standard is a really good middle ground between a light steering and a heavy steering, which is the last option here, which is heavy, which will make the vehicle steering more heavy so that it kind of feels more like a sports car a little bit. Some people prefer that. I don't. I keep mine on light because I want to, make it as easy as possible to kind of turn the wheel. But again, if you're someone who's not really sure, I would advise using standard and seeing if you like that. If you don't like standard, I would recommend that you just keep it on light. Stopping mode, it has 3 modes here. There's creep, there's roll, and there's hold. I have it on hold. What that does is it activates the hold system that stops the vehicle automatically when you roll up to a red stoplight, or a stop sign, depending on how long you have to wait at that intersection. Just because, again, these vehicles have regenerative braking. You remove your foot off the accelerator, they're going to slow down all on their own. And once you get good with it and you can time it when you roll up to a stoplight at an intersection, you understand to take your foot off the accelerator and it'll slow down right when you get to the stoplight. The hold feature will automatically kind of stop the vehicle right there at the end so that you can sit there and you don't have to have your foot on the pedals. You can just have your foot, resting there waiting for the red light to turn green. The other setting I have to go along with that is apply brakes when regenerative braking is limited. Your battery is at 100% state of charge, right? The regenerative braking, what it does when it brakes on its own, it puts energy back into the battery. So if your battery is at 100%, you are not going to be able to put energy back into it because it's already full. Having this on allows there to still be regenerative braking and slow down on its own, even when the battery's at 100% full and the regenerative braking can't put any energy back into the battery, is definitely something you want to have on. So again, in case you charge it to 100% and the battery is full, the vehicle will still regen properly as if it's not full, and it's still able to act as if it's putting energy back into the battery. But in this case, it's slowing down for us still, even though the battery is full. Because the other stopping modes, there's roll when pedals are released and everything, and then creep mode, slowly move when pedals are released, just like a gas car would. But I just highly, highly, highly recommend that you put it on hold, which I think usually it'll come defaulted on when you take delivery of the vehicle. Charging is pretty self-explanatory. Most people will kind of have some knowledge of this. You could see I'm at 70% state of charge, but if you can kind of look where the dot is under the 80 here, or if you can see that where it says charge limit 80%, that is what you want it as. That is what Tesla recommends. If you can just about see it down here. There's a little line and it says daily and it says trip. Tesla recommends between 50 to 80%, which is what you want to charge the vehicle to daily for your daily needs, whereas a trip would be between 80 to 100% is what you want to charge it if you're taking a road trip. Recommend you'd want to keep it at 80 and everything, because once you start charging it past 80, that's when you kind of start messing in the degradation territory. So again, Tesla has little guides right here to keep you around the 80% mark, just for the health of your battery. These batteries, if you charge them to 100 a lot, you will degrade the battery and it will no longer hold a decent state of charge. Let's say, as an example, this vehicle is rated for 308 miles on a full charge, EPA estimated. If I charge it to 100 every day, I would start to maybe only be able to go like 295, and if I kept doing it, maybe it would start to fall down to like 287. You don't want to charge it to 100 a lot. You only charge it to 100 in two cases. One, if you're on a road trip, and two, if you need to recalibrate the battery, which is good to do, in my opinion, every couple months, just to allow that 20% between 80 and 100 that you don't usually use, just to kind of wake up so it doesn't go too dormant. And the system is, like I said, to recalibrate and understand that those cells are there. But if you don't drive a lot and you want to just, let's say, drag it down to 50%, you are more than welcome to do that. People who don't drive a lot have told me that they actually just keep it at 50% because for their daily needs. And then obviously, if you want to change it and put it up to 80, which is what I recommend leaving it at, or further to 100, if you're going to charge it to 100. You can even see when I put that up to 100, it tells me this charge only, so I can keep this setting to leave it at 100, or this is going to be a one-time charge that I'm charging it to 100 because that's what I need for this particular trip that I might be taking in a hypothetical scenario. Autopilot is definitely interesting when it comes to your settings. Typically, you will have traffic aware cruise control and auto steer beta. That's the autopilot feature that every Tesla comes with. Full self-driving you have to purchase separately. Auto steer, or autopilot as it's often known, comes with every Tesla. I can't stress that enough. Currently, I have a free trial of full self-driving, so that's why I have it. But typically, this would be kind of darkened out, and you would just have this. So again, autopilot is good to have on if you are taking a long road trip and it's a long empty road. Autopilot is really good for that, as well as main freeways. But again, it's only good at stopping and going and being able to keep you and auto steering you in the lane. It is not full self-driving. Full self-driving, these are the settings I have. Obviously, I have it turned on. I have start FSD from park. So basically what that means is that me in a parking spot right now, which I'm currently in a public parking lot, if I wanted to start full self-driving, it would start right out of the parking spot and just go and drive to where it needs to go. These are full self-driving's profile, meaning the way it wants to drive. You can have that on chill, standard, or hurry. They're exactly how they sound like. Chill, the vehicle will drive at a very calm rate and maybe be more in the slow lane and give you a more modest kind of chill experience in driving to get to where you have to go. Standard is in between, obviously. I always recommend leaving it on standard because standard will have no problem having to drive aggressively and get around people when it needs to. I highly recommend standard. And hurry is good if you just are that person that wants to plow down the freeway at 80 miles an hour, whizzing in and out of traffic, and you're in a hurry, you really want to get there. But again, I recommend, my personal setting is standard. Max speed offset, I would leave that at 40. Speed offset is basically saying that, okay, I see the car sees that it's 45, but everybody else is going 52, 53, and the car's gonna say, okay, everybody else is doing that speed, I'm going to do 52, 53 as well, so I can keep up with the flow of traffic. Assess actual smart summon. This is the feature that if you're in a parking lot and you're coming out of Target, as an example, you can open the Tesla app and go to the summon mode on the list and be able to hold that button down, and the car will come out of the parking spot and come to you. Speed limit warning, I leave that on display. Some people, you can put it as a chime if you want something to beep at you if you're going over the speed limit. I leave it on display. Locks, I don't have any children or anything like that, so I just have the child locks off. If you do have kids, that is totally up to you. This one here, which is the auto turn signals. If you turn on your turn signal and you get into another lane, as soon as you get in the other lane, the car will see that and your turn signal will automatically turn off. so you don't have to turn on your turn signal, get in the lane, and then flick it up again to turn it off. Display, again, appearance, I leave it on auto. This is a big thing for some people because some people's eyes are very, very sensitive to a bright screen when it's darker out. Obviously right now it's light outside and it needs to be bright enough for me to see because of the sun reflection, not so dark. But I always recommend leaving it on auto. You can just drag it and do this and you can see how much darker it gets. Because again, I know brightness, this might bother some people, but you know, you can just drag it down here. I have it on 44% and maybe you prefer a darker screen display for the brightness. I don't, so I'm going to leave it at 100 because I prefer to have it bright enough so that I can see. So this is one of the main features I highly recommend you keep on. Everybody loves this feature. So you could see if I turn this off and I put my turn signal on, it'll just give me a green arrow. Okay, if I turn this guy on, I have it turned on and I turn on my turn signal, now my right side camera comes on. So my blind spot and just in general a camera view of the right turn signal that I turned on as if I'm going to turn into the right lane, this bad boy comes on and you can see. Same thing if I turn on the left and the left side comes on. Highly recommend it. So to do that, in case you don't have that turned on, go into display and then right under the brightness meter, turn on automatic blind spot camera. The safety sentry mode, I preferably usually have sentry mode off because if you leave sentry mode on and you have it on all the time, it'll come on every single time you get out of the vehicle, thing that will drain your battery. So keep that in mind. If you have to turn it on because maybe you're in a sketchy area, it's totally worth it. I totally understand that. Sentry sounds, camera-based detection, view camera via mobile app. I definitely recommend turning that on because in case something happens, you can view it from your phone, what's currently going on, bring up the Tesla app, go into the Sentry mode, view the live thing, and then you can view the cameras live from your phone. So that's definitely, this one I highly recommend. View camera via mobile app right here in the safety category. Dash cam I have on auto. I would definitely recommend putting it on honk as well. I didn't have that on, but I realized I probably should. I thought I did. On honk, basically, when you have on honk on, if you honk the horn and everything, it'll save like the last like 10 seconds immediately because usually when there's a horn honk, usually there's a particular instance where an accident almost occurred or did occur, and you're definitely going to want that footage already. So dash cam I leave on auto and I put on honk just for that extra layer of security. For me, I don't do pin to drive, I don't do glove box pin, valet mode, parental controls. Again, I don't have any kids currently, so I don't need to really mess with that. But again, if you have children, you can go ahead and turn that on and it will give you a list here of parental controls that you can use that might help you dealing with your kids being in the vehicle. Cabin overheat protection. This one's an interesting one. Basically what this is that so that the cabin doesn't get too hot, the AC will come on to kind of cool it down if you're in a hot area. For me being here in Arizona, this is definitely a useful feature. For me though, right now, because we are in winter, I have it off. I would recommend if you live in a hot area here like Arizona or Nevada or Florida, I would recommend that you put it on. Here's a couple other things. This one's an interesting one too I wanted to go over. Again, this is if you have children. There is Joe mode here. It lowers the volume of inside chimes that the vehicle makes, whether it be the turn signal or maybe the lock, stuff like that. Joe mode limits that sound and everything, and it makes it lower, I believe. If you just turn it on, yeah, see, I don't know if you can pick that up on the audio, but it's a little bit quieter. If I lock it with Joe mode on, it's a little quiet. If I take Joe mode off and do it again, it's a little bit louder. Service for you to go in and do, you know, look at certain things, notifications if you need to get towed, your wheels and tire if you need to reset the mileage on there for every time you need to get your tires rotated, stuff like that. So here we are in software. I scrolled down to the bottom so that it doesn't have my VIN and a bunch of other stuff on there. Basically, the only thing I recommend in software is if you were to open it and you scroll down to the bottom, the software updated preference right here, I recommend leaving that on advanced. It basically allows you to get the software updates as soon as they're available. Rather, if you leave it on standard, they'll send you the software updates cordially, just kind of whenever, on a more chill schedule, let's say. So I definitely recommend, so you go to software, scroll down, go to software updated preference, click advance. That's what I have it on, and I recommend you do the same so you can get your new software updates. So that's it. Those are all the settings that I use in my current 2023 Tesla Model Y. Let me know if you guys use the same settings, maybe you guys prefer something different, and if there's anything I missed that you'd like me to go over, please let me know in the comments down below. Until then, you guys have a good one. Peace.